Hello and welcome to my channel at Nick Reads Books. I'm Nick and today I'm just going to be going through a little recap of what I read in August and a couple of the books that I ended up picking up either through Amazon or going over to the bookstore, and just go through a little bit of a summary of those. So in the month of August I read a total of 2 books and started a third, and now before you click off the video, know that these were rather long books and I'm a busy man, got a lot of things going on. So the first book was The Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan, the 5th book in the Wheel of Time series, and the other book was Valor by John Gwynne, the 2nd book in the Faithful and the Fallen series. And the 3rd book that I started was Golden Sun, the 2nd book in the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. Overall, I would say it's been a really good month of reading. 3 amazing books that I've read. The Fires of Heaven was another amazing entry into the Wheel of Time. Let's just say I love Rand, I love Matt, and I miss Perrin. As I said, Valor is the 2nd book in the Faithful and the Fallen series, and it took another step up, I think, from the 1st book, Malice, and as we're all accustomed to all the characters, we've met all the characters, and John Gwynne really steps it up from there. Yeah, I really recommend anyone who's into fantasy to really check out John Gwynne. I've read The Shadow of the Gods and now the first 2 books in The Faithful and the Fallen, and the man doesn't miss. And I'll be jumping into the 3rd book, Ruin, in the month of September. So moving on now, over to the books that I ended up picking up since my last haul. I don't know exactly if I got all of these in August, but starting with the Malazan series by Stephen Erickson, I ended up picking up Bone Hunters, book number 5 or 6? 5. Book number 5 in the series. Yeah, yet again, just picking these up. Eventually going to start this series. I hope to start this series sometime next year once I finish The Wheel of Time. Really excited to get into this one. From all accounts, it can be quite complicated or convoluted, but just go along for the ride, and I'm excited for that journey. And with that said, I also ended up picking up Reaper's Gale. I'm pretty sure this is book number 7 in the series, so look forward to getting to those next year. Another book I ended up picking up, this one's a bit of a newer release. I saw a bit about it on booktube, saw a couple of people reading it, saying some good things, so I thought I'd grab it, and that was The Sons of Darkness by Gaurav Mohanty. I'm sure I'm butchering that. Absolutely amazing cover as well. Beautiful book. No idea when I'm going to get to this. At the moment it's just sitting on the shelves, and when I feel like it, I'm sure I'll pick it up. I'll give a little bit of a synopsis on the back here, as it's a bit of a newer book. It says, some ballads are inked in blood, bled dry by violent confrontations with the Magdan Empire. The Mathurin Republic simmers on the brink of oblivion. Senator Krishna and his 3rd wife, Satyabhama, have put their plans in motion both within and beyond the Republic's blood-soaked borders to protect it from total annihilation. Probably should have read a couple of these names before I read out that, but I believe this is a sort of Indian inspired, maybe Middle Eastern, so I haven't really stepped or read many books with that sort of inspiration, so I think it'll be exciting to get into. So this next book is one that I'm sure you've all heard of if you have lived and breathed on this earth, and that would be The Stand by Stephen King, an absolute chunk of a book. Have been looking to get this one for a while, never really liked any of the covers in Australia, but then they've just released this new sort of style with all the matching spines, and I really like the cover, the art, the minimalistic sort of art style. So with these next 3 books, they're going to be more in the science fiction genre. As I've been currently reading the Red Rising series, it's just been absolutely amazing, and I thought I wanted to step more into sci-fi. I've been mainly focusing on fantasy, but there's definitely some sci-fi books that I want to get into, mainly The Expanse and that sort of thing. Empire of Silence, that series. So the book I ended up picking up was Dan Simmons' Hyperion. From my understanding, it's a collection of sort of shorter stories, shorter science fiction stories. Two to Ramble, the podcast that I watch, they speak high praises of Hyperion, one of his favourite books. So I wanted to check it out. So the last 2 books I ended up grabbing in the month of August. They are both from the Red Rising series, and those would be Iron Gold and Dark Age. The 4th and 5th entries into the series. Just saw them at my local bookstore and knew I had to grab them up. Just starting Golden Sun, and it's been absolutely one hell of a ride so far. I'm about 100 pages in, and I may be speaking too soon, but one of the chapter 12 of Golden Sun may be the best chapter I've ever read. That may be, you know, recency bias, but if you've read Red Rising and then you get up to the Golden Sun, it is all gas, no brakes at the moment. So with that all out of the way, I just wanted to go through a bit of my reading expectations going into September. As I said, I'm about 160 pages into Golden Sun at the moment and really loving it and trying to finish that within the next couple of days. And then I'm looking to move on to the Lord of Chaos, the 6th book in the Wheel of Time. From all accounts, I've heard it's quite a good book. Some people rate it lower than Fires of Heaven, some people rate it above. But to be honest, I don't think there's been a bad entry into the Wheel of Time so far. At the beginning of the year, if you told me I'd be 6 books into this series, I probably would have laughed at you. I was in a bit of a fantasy slump and a bit of a reading slump, and wasn't doing much reading at all. So I plan to get up to book 7, A Crown of Swords, this year, and I might take a month or 2 off just to have a bit of a break, because I know that books 8, 9 and 10 are technically, people class them as a bit of a slog. So I might just take a small break from the series, read a few smaller other books from other series before I continue on with Wheel of Time. But I want to continue after that, reading 1 Wheel of Time book a month, finishing up the series. So alongside the Lords of Chaos, in September I'm going to be reading the 3rd book in the Faithful and the Fallen, being Ruin. I've heard that Ruin is a lot of people's favourite book of the series, which would be interesting if that is how I feel after I finish Wrath, the 4th book. But definitely our good guys are still copying the short end of the stick, so I hope in the 3rd book that starts to turn around and we see Corbin and the gang start to get some wins on the board, some runs on the board, as you Australians might understand, a bit of cricket. But otherwise, thanks for watching the video, guys. Make sure to, well, don't make sure, if you feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and everything helps out. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.